Okay, so now for synthetic division, I'm going to divide the same two polynomials that we saw with the long division. So again, we've got the dividend on top and the divisor on bottom. And now for synthetic division, instead of making that normal division shape, you might see it in different shapes, but I always do it with just a simple L shape. And then on the outside here, we're going to put what's called the 0 of the divisor. And the 0 just means the number that you would have to plug into x to make your divisor equal out to be 0. So if you wanted x plus 1 to equal 0, the number you'd have to put into this spot would be -1. And it's pretty easy to find because it's always, you know, if you don't have a coefficient on your x, it's always just the opposite of whatever your number you see here. So if it was x minus 5, you would put a +5. So the 0 of the divisor goes on the outside, and then up top here on this row, you're going to line up all the coefficients of your dividend. So coefficients means just the numbers, not the variables. If there was anything that was skipped, like if we didn't have an x squared term, we would have to put a 0 in that spot. It needs to go 3, 2, 1, constant. So we got a 2 for 2x to the third, another 2, -5, and 4. And those are just coming from these coefficients right here. Now, once we've got the problem set up, we are going to add, down, and multiply up. Compared to long division, this is going to be really easy, really simple. So we start with this first number, which is 2. We add down, but there's nothing to add to it, so we just bring it right down. So next thing is multiply up. And when we multiply, we're always going back here and multiplying by the 0. So in this case, multiplying by -1 every time. So 2 times -1 is -2, and we put that right here. So we multiply up and go to that spot. Then we add down. 2 plus -2 gives us 0. Then we multiply up. 0 times -1. We always go back to this -1. 0 times -1 is 0. Add down. -5 plus 0, -5. Multiply up. -5 times -1 is 5. And then we add down. 4 plus 5 is 9. And we've worked our way through the whole problem. So now the process is done. We just have to put the x's back onto this so that our answer can look like a polynomial. So now we ended up with this 9 at the end. This 9, this last number that you end up with, is always going to be the remainder. So just like with long division, we're going to write it in fraction form, and we're going to put our remainder on top of our divisor, which is x plus 1. So I'm going to kind of like work backwards with this. So we know we're going to end with our remainder. It's going to be 9 over x plus 1. And then from there, you can kind of count up from here. So this is our constant with no x. This is the x term, and this is the x squared term. And of course, if we have 0x, we don't really include that because it's just 0. So what we would have then is we got this -5 as our constant, and we've got this 2x squared. So then our final answer would be 2x squared minus 5 plus 9 over x plus 1. One thing to notice is when we do synthetic division, whatever degree you started out with, this started with a degree of 3, that went down by 1. So whatever you start with will go down by 1 in your final answer, and you're always going to end up with your remainder over the divisor.